The purpose of the Teen Summit is to provide safe spaces for the youth to discuss issues that are important to them, with the goal of going back to their home high schools and continuing these conversations. Within that, we also want students to have an opportunity to express how they feel about that through spoken word, street art, graffiti, or emceeing, which are all very culturally relevant art forms that don't often get the attention that they deserve. And then they're going to come back on Saturday and they're going to get some knowledge dropped on them from some community experts. And youth will also serve on the panel. And then they get to close with a performance by the DMI Breakers, our spoken word poets, and Maxilla Blue, and then celebrate with a dance party.
And I also think, furthermore, one of the reasons that we wanted to do a summit is because, you know, we've met a certain population of our students, but because of Urban Leadership 101 now, we have access to every single high school, and we have an ambassador and a representative from each of those high schools. And this is an opportunity for us to spread this movement, because there's a lot of the students, I think, that were in our audience this morning that have never seen a Movement 515 performance. And so by putting that out there in front of them and for getting them to see that students their age are making a difference and are talking about positive things and trying to challenge some of the negative stresses that affect them, now maybe they're going to be more likely to join that and see, hold up, maybe there is a group that I can join where I do feel accepted regardless of who I am, and I don't feel like I have to be someone else to feel accepted and to be appreciated. And I think that it probably opened up some students' minds today to think, I really want to get down with this cause, especially if they're going to allow me to have an unadulterated, unfiltered space where I can be brave and I can say what I want to say, and that's going to be supported, and on top of that, people are going to listen.
We wrote letters, and each of the students wrote letters, and we sent them out to major corporations and businesses. And Christopher and I had the opportunity to sit down with Paul Rottenberg, who's the president of Orchestrate Management, and he said, I want to fund it. I want to be a part of it. And so he was kind and allowed us to really kind of reach some of these dreams, because without that funding, we would not have been able to put on the event.
And we also use that as a challenge back to our students to say, look, you know, this man just gave us all of this money, so we really have to make sure that this event is everything that it can be and more. And so we put that responsibility back on them so that they could then kind of step up to that expectation in the plate and make something really magical happen. And I would argue that what we experienced this morning was very magical. It's still happening, and I'm excited to get to the workshops and to see how the kids are responding to those. But there's a lot of energy in this room, and I think that if it weren't for Paul, that we wouldn't have, you know, nearly half of what we experienced today.
Absolutely.
We hope that students demand this in their education, that they walk away and they think, we want this at our own school, so that it's not so isolated. We want kids to challenge, I think, a little bit and say, we would be more engaged if maybe things went a little closer to what this looks like and represents. The goal has always been to create a slam culture in every high school so that we can start competing against each other similar to the way that athletics do. And we can start putting on slams, you know, North versus East, East versus Hoover, Hoover versus Roosevelt, Roosevelt versus Lincoln. And I think that this Teen Summit is our first step towards doing that.